Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Earrings Off. We want to invite you to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. You can find us on Facebook at Earrings Off Podcast and on Instagram at The Earrings Off Podcast.
Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa. Let's get started.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing well. I tell you, it's a lot's going on. And we said we were going to talk this week about being civil. How to talk with people when we have different opinions, with the Tucker Carlson parting of ways with Fox and so much going on. We just need to talk a little bit about that. Although people are rejoicing in the streets.
Oh, he's not going anywhere. I mean, he'll be back. He has a lot of fans.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, and their ratings are plummeting. But anyway, I was a little excited to see that Charles Barkley and Gayle King are now going to do a show on CNN. They're calling the show King Charles. I saw a little bit of a promo. Partner, you don't seem excited about that news.
I didn't know about it. I'm hearing it for the first time.
But anyway,
but even still, that doesn't move me one bit, right?
Yeah.
Like when you said that, I was trying to see them together interacting.
Yeah, no.
I was trying to envision what would that look like.
Well, they said that the show is going to be non-political. They did a little promo. I saw a little promo of it on TNT. They said they were going to be honest, but that they will come from a place maybe of different opinions at some point. They just want to talk about how to have a conversation without tearing the other person down, and how to talk with people and interact with people in a way where you're respectful of other opinions, but you still can engage and possibly learn from each other going forward, and maybe change some opinions, be educated about topics. So I was a little encouraged to hear about that.
Oh,
we'll just see how it goes. But I like the premise of the upcoming show. It's going to be on Wednesdays on CNN. I told Nasheed, I said, executives, they know what to do because they part ways with Don Lemon, but in that they have waiting Charles Barkley and Gayle King, and of course that's to nullify some people.
Was the announcement made at the same time?
Pretty much. It was. I don't see that as coincidental. I see that as maneuvering, trying to do some damage control. That's what I thought.
I don't have cable, so I don't see CNN, right? I know who Don Lemon is. I've seen clips of him, but I thought he was held in a high regard, but it seems he wasn't.
Yeah, right.
So
what
happened with him?
Apparently, what they're saying is his behavior made some very inappropriate behavior toward women, comments and interactions. That's what I've read, but I didn't follow it closely enough. And I too don't know much about. I didn't really watch the show. I would see different clips of him, but apparently they're saying this has been ongoing behavior for years. But I didn't dig into it enough to know the full details of it. But what I did hear, that the guy from the Late Show, James, I think it's Corden, he recently closed his last show. And one thing that he said, I liked when he closed the show. He said that he struggled to find words to sum up, his time on the Late Show, and that when they started, they had Obama on, and then Trump, and then they dealt with the global pandemic. He said, I've watched America change a lot over these past few years. We all have. I've watched divisions grow. I felt a sense of negativity. And he said, I guess all I really want to say is I implore you to remember what America signifies to the rest of the world. My entire life has always been a place of optimism and joy. And sure, America has its flaws, but show me a country that doesn't. Every single one of us is a work in progress. Just because someone disagrees with you, it doesn't make them bad or evil. There are people who are intentionally trying to stoke these differences. They want this divisiveness. And he said, we have to try to be the best we can to look for the light and look for the joy. It's out there. And I thought, you know what, that's a great way to sum up what we've been seeing in this country. It's like a fire that's burning and it's just catching fire everywhere. It's just lighting up everywhere. That's what we're going to talk a little bit about. And Teresa, I don't know if you've seen the former First Lady's, Michelle Obama's book. In it, she talks about how she's trying to, in her way, she's trying to use her platform, her power, her influence to sort of tilt us back in the right direction, because she talks a lot about how you can disagree with people, but we don't have to be so disagreeable and angry and to the point where you want to engage in attacks against people. So I just admire so much what she's doing to try to help us to, like I said, sort of tilt back a bit. Yeah. Well, I tell you, like I said, it's just critical times in this country, and I don't know where we think it's going to get us. It can't be a good journey. Certainly, and it's not good for us. It's not good for the kids that are seeing it, So, yeah.
I think a lot of it has to start with the media. I think a lot of people rely on media for their news,
Yeah.
like the Fox News and the CNN and the MSNBCs. And I don't know how one can report and not have an opinion in it. Like when you write, you're going to write from your perspective, right? So journalism, although they say, they try to come from a place where they're just reporting the news, but without an angle. It's hard because you hear it all the time.
Yeah, but if you're a professional, there are many positions where you have to remain neutral for you to be effective, for you to be the professional you're required to be. I mean, that's
what I'm saying. Well, that doesn't happen. Tucker Carlson, he's a professional.
Yeah.
He has an opinion. And although he has, I don't know this guy's, I don't know his.
But he was catering to a certain base, though. So that I see is different versus you really trying to be a professional and deliver information without your opinion in it. That wasn't his intent. That wasn't his intent. Yeah, so I don't see that. I don't see that as true journalism, because I've had positions in the past, particularly when I was a social worker, and also when I headed a team of appeals officers, where that came with the job. You see things, you have your own, opinion or what you think may be going on, but part of your being effective is that you stay in the middle, that you don't interject that. Because when I would see that with staff where I really could tell where they were heading in this, that's a problem, because you are not doing really what you were hired and required to do so that you can get to a fair place, so that people can look at the facts, process, and make a decision. So,
and that's my point. That's what media has to do. And the shows like Fox, all of them, and Tucker, we were talking about Tucker specifically. Who knows what his true views are? because he said one thing on the air. He said a different thing in some text messages that came
Yeah.
out in that trial that
Yeah.
were contrary to that. So
Yeah.
what is his motivation
Yeah. But
is what I'd like to know.
yeah, and I hear you. You're right, but it's not only him. It's I watch MSNBC. They do it too. You know,
That's what I'm
love
telling
them,
you.
but yeah. So I don't
That's
see
what I'm
that
saying.
as really being a professional journalist. I don't, because that is just catering to your base. I
Stoking the
always,
fire.
yeah, stoking the fire, and I always believed the best journalists educate. They provide information, which then allows you to process it as an individual and say, you know what, I can see that point, or I disagree with that. But I don't need, I don't think it's helpful that people are, again, stoking the fire just by stating their opinion. And then it's one thing to state your opinion, but doing it in such a way that the other folks, the other side, can't be heard, because the way it's being done is so, it's attacking, it's so disrespectful. We don't get anywhere like that. I mean, we just don't. And you would think people who are intelligent would recognize that this doesn't do any of us any good. It just doesn't. And like I said, people may disagree and say, well, you know what, I'm nobody's role model but my kids. I'm not a role model. But I think if we are adults and we maneuver throughout the world, we have to be throughout our personal environments where we go. We have to be aware that, yeah, kids are paying attention. Even when we think they aren't paying attention, they are. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where you don't know where you can start to
yeah.
affect change, and it's
Right.
like, how do we get here?
Well, yeah. But, and it's not a cop out, but I think where all of us can start is just being mindful in our own lives of how we're interacting with each other. And then calling each other on it when we see behavior that is causing divisiveness. Just think
Yeah,
about that riot, January 6th. There had to be some family members, friends, somebody that knew some of what was going on. And, oftentimes we're the people where other people might be threatened to approach a stranger. I get that because you don't know people. But if you have a relationship with that person, that's when you get a chance, hopefully, to pull them aside and say, you know what are you doing? What's this about? And to try to affect change that way. So I don't know.
yeah. I
I
did.
know it's
I
certainly
did.
bigger than that, but yeah. Some points I wanted to cover in terms of how to engage in respectful communication. Remember to be polite and avoid interrupting people, and be quiet and when others are speaking. Listen to others. Learn to respect differences in beliefs and opinions, and think before you speak. Words have power. Think about that. And watch your language and your tone when you're talking to people. Respect personal space, because sometimes that's how things can escalate. We're not mindful of our tone, our delivery, and then we're a bit too close. And it's like, okay, then all of a sudden, something pops off and you're back and forth yelling at each other and not really hearing. And understand that each of us have our own experiences and beliefs, and we all come from different life events and influences. So you may think differently about something than I do. It's just simply because we come from different places. So we have to be mindful of that. And sometimes we're just wrong. And when we are, make sure that we admit that. And, we grow, we learn things that I believed even 2 years ago or a year ago or a month ago. I can change my opinion when I get different information or engage in different conversations. So I think that's critical. Yeah.
That's some good stuff. If
Yeah.
we could just get everybody to live that way,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
world would be a better place. The
Absolutely.
world would be a better place. So
Much
I
better.
wanted to talk a little bit, we try to do a health focus on this 30-minute, almost out of time segment.
Yes.
But I'm going to try to get it in real quick. I always talk about nutrition and how food impacts us, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the environment and
Okay.
specifically fragrances. So air quality, right? In our homes, specifically in our homes, because that's a big topic and we can go on and on and on about it. But in our homes specifically is what I'm talking about. So our air quality in our homes can lead to respiratory problems such as asthma, chronic bronchitis, and even lung cancer. Air pollution can also cause heart disease, stroke, and health problems. So how can we have bad air? What causes bad air in our homes? Like fragrances, right? And pretty much most all things, your dish detergent, the things you use to clean your house, they
Mhm.
all have fragrance. And now anymore, there are these products that are, what are they called? Like for breeze, what are those things called? Like air fresheners?
Mhm.
They're air fresheners,
Right.
and candles, even for that sake. That we burn the candles for a certain smell in our house. We like the smell of fragrances, and some people feel like that means that your house is clean. Well, smelling clean doesn't have a smell, right? We have to remember that clean does not smell, so you don't need to have those things
I'm one of
to
those
smell.
people. I like the smell of that. What is it that I like? Fabuloso. I love that stuff.
Fabuloso, I haven't even heard of that one, but let me go on because I don't have but a few minutes.
You sure don't,
So,
because we got to end up.
so fragrances cause allergic reactions. Like I said, some symptoms may include headache, sneezing, skin irritation, watery eyes. You know, the big one is hormonal disruptions. Some
Wow.
fragrances, these are synthetic fragrances.
Hmm.
Some of them contain chemicals that can disrupt the hormonal balance in the body. This can lead to health problems such as infertility and developmental disorders in children. So we have to be very careful um, about that. I don't want to. I want to do yin and yang. I want to give some positive news about fragrances. So yes, you can not fabuloso because I know that ain't natural, but there
But
are
it smells so
natural
good.
fragrances that we can use, and those they enhance our mood. They can provide pain relief, like eucalyptus, peppermint. They have been found to have pain relieving properties. Certain fragrances improve your sleep. Chamomile, lavender, they're shown to promote relaxation
So are
and
you
stress
talking
relief.
about buying a product with that in there?
What I'm talking about is you have to not use chemical based fragrances and switch over to natural, like essential oil fragrances, or, even fruit. For instance, my mom, before there was ever even those products on the market, and they could have been, but when I was younger, she would literally put some citrus peels in
Mhm.
a pot and boil it on the oven. Maybe throw some cinnamon there, and it would
Uh,
smell so good,
yeah.
right? And so she was ahead of her time in that. But so yeah, natural scent. So if you want to burn a candle, make sure that it is essential oil based, not a synthetic fragrance. Even our perfumes, when you think about it, they're perfumes are synthetic fragrances.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I stopped.
unless you buy the all natural essential oil based fragrances. So
Yeah.
it has fragrances can have both negative and positive impacts on our health, triggering allergies,
Yeah.
respiratory infections, and worse. So it's always a good idea to err on the side of natural. and not just in the title. Because in my research, I noticed that there were some products with organic in the title that received F ratings, Febreze being one of them, on the Environmental Working Group .org website, which I've mentioned many times on this podcast. If you want to know about any product that you use, you can find out there, from anything that you apply to your body, anything that you use in your household, even things outside of your home, air quality. You can research it there and find out how it impacts and can impact you, how those things can impact you. And so I'll end there. I had to rush about 15 minutes of content down to 2 minutes, but that's okay. We roll.
Well, but it is important. I think people need to remember also that as you go about your day-to-day activities, I don't think we're ever going to be toxin free in our environment. But what you do and what I do, I pick and choose in terms of what changes can I make to minimize the amount of toxic exposure to me. And that's a step in the right direction. And I purposely do say, okay, that's something I don't have to have. Okay, this is something I'm going to work with. And that's what we do to try to preserve our health. So good stuff. We can't close without our mantra, and we want you to have a fantastic day. And of course, you already know, if you've been listening to Earrings Off, that mantras are something that we say to ourselves. There's a lot of negative stuff that we hear throughout the day. And sometimes it's the negative stuff we say to ourselves. But we want to get in the habit of speaking good stuff to our spirit. We're going to start with our mantra. Today is a good day.
I will make it so.
My reality is formed by what my mind tells it.
Today I am healthy and well.
I am at peace.
I extend kindness to myself and others.
In my actions and interactions today,
I lead with my commitment to do better.
And be better.
I commit to being part of the solution.
To positively impact the environment.
And the world.
My choices
become my reality. Thank you guys so much for listening today. You can follow us on YouTube at The Earrings Off Podcast. We're the same on Instagram, The Earrings Off Podcast, and also on Facebook. We are found as Earrings Off Podcast. Drop us a line. We would love your feedback, your thoughts, and put some potential show ideas at earringsoff@gmail.com. Be sure to check out our latest episodes wherever you listen to your podcast. We're on all the major platforms. Don't sleep on our blogs, which you can also find on our website at www.earringsoff.com.
That's it for us here today at Earrings Off.
Thank you for joining us, and take good care.
Bye-bye.